Welcome back. You're watching the late night news. The auditorium of the School of Excellence here in Greenrace Road in Chennai saw some heated exchanges between the advocates and the judges. A moot court in session, the first of its kind on taxation law, saw young law graduates present their cases fervently. Organized by the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University School of Excellence, the national competition saw 16 colleges participating from across the country. The Symbiosis Law College, Pune, were declared the winners. The moot proposition and research paper topics involved contemporary issues of taxation.
As a lawyer, a raw lawyer, when you enter a court, normally for everybody it's rather baffling to look at. In a courtroom which is just two judges there, total strangers there. Now, this kind of a moot courts practically removes that inhibition from the mind of a student, one thing. It prepares them practically to know what is there in future to appear in a case before a court of law, where the atmosphere is a totally different setup, not like this.
Now, the weather office has forecast the arrival of monsoon shortly, but then it's not only time to prepare for flooded streets and the roads, but also waterborne diseases that break out in Chennai during the monsoon season. So what should you do? Zoya Thomas tells you. Take a look.
After the scorching heat of summer, the monsoons are welcomed by everyone. But the monsoons always come as a combined package. Along with relief from heat, it also brings a host of diseases. So here are a few tips to keep you safe this season.
As hospitals in Chennai already report a surge in malaria, influenza, fungal infections and typhoid cases, the monsoon showers expected to begin just days from now is likely to push up the number of patients. Here are some common waterborne diseases and symptoms that could break out. Influenza is characterized by chills, fever, sore throat, muscle pain, headache, coughing and general weakness. Common fungal infections are athlete's foot, where one develops red itchy patches and white flaky skin, and ringworm, where one develops a brownish red patch that can occur anywhere around the body, usually marked with a ring around it. In the case of malaria, a patient has fever occurring at regular intervals along with headaches, nausea and bouts of shivering. A patient could even experience muscle pain and weakness. Cholera is marked by severe diarrhea, nausea, rapid weight loss, muscle cramps and fever. Doctors warn that if adequate preventive measures are not taken, it could keep you away from routine activities for some days. In some cases, might even require admission to a hospital.
Onset of monsoon, we get water-related disorders mostly and moisture-related. See, it can affect any system in the body. It could be infection. It could be infection in the respiratory tract. It could be infection, viral infection. It could be bacterial infection. It could be any infection which can.
To prevent fungal infections this monsoon, keep yourself dry, bathe twice a day, use talcum powder, change innerwear regularly, and maintain personal hygiene. While there's nothing like foolproof measures to keep the diseases at bay, these tips could help in a big way to prevent them during this monsoon season. In Chennai, with Zoya Thomas, Sindhuja for NDTV Hindu.
On to some national news. The three-member interlocutors for Jammu and Kashmir are in midst of a visit that's fast turning controversial. Today, the BJP targeted them, accusing the team's leader of internationalizing the issue, while reportedly saying Pakistan was key to a permanent Kashmir solution. In Srinagar, the moderate separatist leader Mirwais said that there was no point in meeting the interlocutors. But amidst all this, the interlocutors went to the central jail in Srinagar today to meet the youth in the jail, many of them arrested for stone pelting. They may have also set up a meeting with youngsters at a coffee shop. Journalist Dilip Padgaonkar, academician Professor Radha Kumar and Information Commissioner M.M. Ansari have already met journalists and a Gujjar delegation. They are expected to meet the governor as well. The polling in the second phase of Bihar elections got over today. There was a fair turnout despite the shadow of Naxal violence following the Shiohar blast triggered by Naxals on Friday night. 6 districts with 45 constituencies, all in the flood-prone and poverty-stricken Tirhat Mithilanchal belt, have over 600 candidates, some with criminal records as well.
90-year-old Alina Khatun on one of her rare trips from home in Darbhanga. But she never misses her vote. She hasn't in any election held in Bihar so far. Along with Alina, several lakh others voted in 45 constituencies in 6 districts of North Bihar, a belt dominated by upper caste in some seats and Muslims in others.
अभी भी वोट डालने आती हैं? अभी हम तकलीफ नहीं होती आपको आने में?
नहीं, इसके सहारे से आ जाते हैं।
अच्छा। क्यों वोट देने आती हैं? मतलब क्या जरूरी लगता है?
हमने वादा किया है कि अगर हम जिंदे रहेंगे तो फिर 25 साल आएंगे।
After Friday's attack in Shehar district, where Naxals killed 6 policemen, the administration is particularly alert.
You can see adequate security arrangements here. Jawans of the SSB posted at this polling booth, manning the security over here, ensuring that this poll goes off peacefully.
Barring an attack on a polling booth by Naxals, where an electronic voting machine and some papers were set on fire, the second phase of the assembly polls in Bihar have been largely peaceful. With Alok Pandey in Bihar, Chetan Bhattacharjee for NDTV.
Now, food security, it seems, will be the UPA's flagship project in its second term. The new draft bill is expected to cover 2/3 of the country's population getting subsidized food grain. But the food security redraft may not be as inclusive as it looks at the first glance. Development economist and NAC member Professor Jane Dries told NDTV that while the redrafted food security bill was an improvement on the previous state, it was a missed opportunity for a real and visionary change.
If somebody came to me and said, in this vast country where half of the children are undernourished, you were part of a high-profile advisory committee that had the chance to come up with proposals that would be taken seriously on how to do something about this problem, and what have you done? And then I had to say that I came up with something that cost 23,000 crores. I would die of shame, really, quite frankly. And about this pressure, you know, there's no time to go into the details and it would not be appropriate, but it happened in various ways. I'll just give you one example. You know, a few weeks ago there was a story in many newspapers the same day saying that the Food Ministry had rejected the NAC proposals. Now actually it was a misleading headline. The Food Ministry had not rejected proposals. In fact the proposals were not ready at that time, so there was no question of rejecting them. But it's true that the Food Ministry had expressed reservations and anxiety about the food requirements, but that was spinned and it was released, you know, purposely from somewhere, I would think, in the government on the same day for a certain purpose. And that's the kind of signals that were given, that if you go overboard, then it's not going to work and it's going to backfire. So this is the kind of, and the other part one has to acknowledge is that the government is also represented even within the NEC, and when you're trying to build a consensus, that does give a lot of power in effect to the government. So in various ways, I feel that the opportunity that was there at the beginning of a visionary departure has been missed, and that is the unhappiness I have, without denying that these proposals do of course take us forward, and it's better, much better than what we have today.
Meanwhile, the BJP has taken this opportunity to hit out at the UPA as well. The BJP says that the NAC is bypassing a lot of establishments.
We feel very strongly that if there has got to be any kind of food security or discussion related to food security, nutritional security should dominate the whole issue. There's no good if you're just sharing and distributing grains. It has got to be mainly concentrating on the nutritional security of the citizens. But in any case, NAC does a lot of exercises, and we feel it is in a way bypassing a lot of established institutions within each ministry, which actually has to be working at drafting bills.
Time for a quick break, but on the other side, our reporter Pratiksha joins the white collars flexing some muscles for a change.